What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Superdraft Breakdown Show here. I am Grant Neefer, aka Turk Ferguson, bringing you some of my favorite plays on today's Superdraft slate. If you haven't signed up for yet, making bad life choices. They have a fantastic promo going right now. Deposit $150 or more, get a $150 instant bonus. That's not deposit, that's not drip, that's play through it once and the money is yours. Absolutely fantastic. The best deposit bonus out there, entire industry. Great site, overlay almost every single day. Some of their contests overlaid huge yesterday. But pretty much every single day, they just got acquired or a partnership by Caesars Entertainment. Same Caesars Entertainment that bought you Caesars Palace and 45 different resorts across the U.S. So all your play is going to get you tier points over at Caesars Entertainment. Still working out the final parts of that system, but they will be giving you Caesars Rewards points. You can get nice hotel stays all across the U.S. and even some nice gaming perks. So get signed up over there for Superdraft. Get that deposit bonus. Use them promo code Grinders and get on in. And I'm going to explain to you exactly what to do on this slate. I've already been digging in deep into it. I know exactly what's going on. So I'm going to let you know. I've created a nice little Excel sheet over here. It is pretty much just the Superdraft multipliers, which if you haven't played on Superdraft before, play whoever you want. No salary cap format. Well, they do have one, but the multiplier is the main format. It lets you play anyone you want. You can do all 1v1 swaps because everyone's just based on a multiplier. You take the ending score, whatever the player did, multiply it by their multiplier. So DeJounte Murray, for instance, is a 1.35x multiplier. He scores 50 points a day. 50 times 1.35x is around, 75 points? So that's what you get. So every single person is in play every single day, or you can play them, and it's just top score wins, tournament, cash, same thing with everything. So you want to get the top scoring players. The goal is to get the 7 top scoring players. Other sites, optimal lineups can be any number of things. You could not have the top scoring player on the slate, but if you have all the value right, you still may have the optimal lineup. So it's just very different format, little bit of positional scarcity. You only get one center, but a lot of people are multiple position eligible. So I'm going to kind of just break through. You get 3 guards, 3 forwards, 1 center. So let's start off with the center today. You'll notice a little bit of color coding on this. Median projections are based on RG. Same with floor, same with ceiling. Guys that I've highlighted in blue are guys that will be cash or tournament plays, kind of a little bit of core both. I use a lot of my cash game guys in tournaments too. It's interesting on any given slate, you can get guys that are upwards of 60% owned, 70% owned sometimes. So it's always interesting every single slate. But at center, so we got Plumlee and Bam are probably the top 2 guys. Normally, there's a lot more chalk on every single slate. Today, if there is, then I think there's a huge advantage because the difference in median outcomes between guys isn't that drastic. Normally, we'll have a guy up here at 60 and then a guy at like 58. Well, if we look at all positions, you'll see that we have DeJounte Murray way above everyone else, followed by LeBron, and then Booker to like the next 20 people is only the difference of 6 points median outcome. So there's a lot of different positions you can play, a lot of different guys you can play today, and it's definitely a good slate for tournaments and not a bad slate for cash because some people are going to make some mistakes with cash. So Plumlee, 1.6x multiplier, a little bit high. The dude's giving out a bunch of dimes, getting a bunch of boards, scoring, kind of doing everything. A matchup versus New Orleans with Adams maybe not playing. We don't know. We'll wait on that news for later. But Plumlee at 1.6x is probably the guy I'm going to use at the center position. I don't mind a lot of these other guys, but he's probably the guy. Bam is also a potential guy. You can use both of them at the forward position, so it's not really a big deal. Bam at a 1.2x multiplier. Matchup versus Toronto, a decent matchup for him. Probably the 2 top guys you can go for cash. For tournaments, it's a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to talk extensively about the Sacramento situation because we don't have Keldon Johnson today. We don't have DeRozan today. I'll double check, but I think they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players. And a lot of those players aren't great. So we kind of want to see where the starting lineup's going to be at. With DeJounte Murray being the clear best play on the slate, for tournaments, he's worth a fade. But if he's not doing something, you have to look at other San Antonio players, which is why I'm talking about this at the center position, because we got Podol, we got LMA. Both of them are in there. Yeah, I know that Adams is probable, but it's the NBA. Things are weird. We haven't gotten the 11:30 injury report yet or 1:30 injury report yet. So I'm just kind of going under the assumption that they could end up doing anything. We already got a little bit of news on San Antonio that LMA will play looking to hear what his minutes restriction will be, because they're definitely going to need a boost in that offense in terms of offense. And you have Patty Mills, you have Lonnie Walker, you have DeJounte Murray, you have LMA, you have Podol, and then any number of guys on the bench that can end up doing something, because San Antonio is one of the most inconsistent teams of who's the top guy outside of DeRozan. It's kind of just hit or miss with almost anyone. So Podol and LMA definitely make decent tournament pivots. Both of them have decent multipliers. Again, uptick in usage without Keldon Johnson or DeRozan in there. There's no guarantee that DeJounte Murray is going to take over. The guy's a stud, but he has a tendency to occasionally just not show up. And it's pretty much the same with all San Antonio players. So Podol, LMA make great tournament pivots off of these two guys here. Rudy Gobert, with the Superdraft scoring system, it's a little bit of a mix between DraftKings and FanDuel. So DraftKings, it has the double-double bonus, the triple-double bonus. It has the 3-point bonus, so 3.5 points for a three-pointer, but it also has, like FanDuel, it has -1 point for turnover, 3 for a block, 3 for a steal. So a little bit of mix. So guys like Gobert that can get 4 or 5 blocks and steals a game, getting 3 points for them is a huge boost to their potential ceiling. So I know it's a matchup versus Lakers, not really the best matchup in the world, but that team's not quite the same as it is with Anthony Davis in there. So he definitely has a little bit of upside. He's in play for tournaments. Cat can always go off for a 60 burger, even on the second end of back-to-back. It's a match versus Chicago. Wendell Carter Jr. isn't the greatest defender in the world. So Cat is a guy I think that you can play in tournaments. Horford, multiplier is a little bit lower than it has been. So I think people are going to mostly stay away from him. I might stay away from him. His production isn't the same with SGA on the floor. So he's a guy that I'd bring in and bring back of a full game stack. San Antonio, OKC, hoping for potential of overtime. Wendell Carter Jr. might need a few more minutes out of him with Cat. So he's definitely in play at 1.6x. We kind of look at the ceiling projection. He has one of the largest on the board. So he can get you 60-something. Same with Montrezl Harrell. He's a guy that can put up a massive outing. Matchup versus Gobert isn't the great. So I'm probably going to stay away from him for the most part, because I don't know if they might end up playing Gasol for more minutes going up against Gobert. I don't have him highlighted because I don't think he goes to 30 points, but I'm not going to argue against playing him at a 1.9x multiplier. It's just minutes are so tough to figure out for Gasol. Like, I think this is a spot where he could potentially play a lot more, so keep an eye on that. But that's kind of where we're at center. Like, all these guys are in play because we don't have a clear standout guy. So I'm not going to argue with playing any center in this like 7-8 person range today, just because the median outcome between Mason Plumlee and Wendell Carter Jr. is a total of 7 points, where occasionally we'll have a 7-point discrepancy between the median of the top guy and the second guy. So that's just kind of where we're at with center. That's kind of how it's going to go today. Looking at forward here, pretty interesting. So we got LeBron as the de facto top forward. He can play point guard too, so you can use him at either one of those spots, multi-positional eligible. He's the guy that I'm probably putting in first for cash. We're getting questions. Spurs only got to have 8 bodies active as soon as it doesn't get run. They're going to be chalk, even over in Superdraft too. I don't know if they're going to be chalk. I know that DeJounte Murray is going to be chalk over on Superdraft. My projection for him is around 65 to 70% owned. He's the de facto number 1 play over on Superdraft. His median outcome is way too high. 1.35x multiplier is way too high. Even if it's going to be a low scoring game, he can also get it done with steals. Like I said, 3 points for a steal. He had a 9 steal game the other night. He's a guy that can absolutely crush, and it's a tough fade in tournaments. I don't know. Like, my plan over on Superdraft with tournaments is going to be either play DeJounte Murray or play 2 to 3 guys in the San Antonio lineup. I don't think you need to play 2 to 3 guys in every single lineup. There are plays all over the board. Like I said, you can play anyone, so it's not like other sites where game stacking is horribly advantageous. Like, game stacking is kind of more advantageous in spots where you have games that go to OT. Like, that's where they really end up crushing their price tag. Or if there's giant just discrepancies in terms of their multipliers. Like, I think it was 2 nights ago, we had Russell Westbrook at 1.35x and Bradley Beal at 1.25x, LeBron at 1.1x, and Kuzma at 1.7x. I think the optimal lineup had all 4 of them in, or it might have been Montrezl Harrell. But that's kind of the spot where you can game stack here. I always throw in a few game stacks, just hoping for that OT, because with the multipliers like OT or double OT, I think we had it against Lakers versus Detroit was a big one, where if you didn't have like Plumlee, Jeremy Grant, LeBron, you weren't going to take down the tournament because it went to double OT. We've had one, I think the Lakers versus Washington Lakers have been a lot of OT games. You needed Westbrook, Beal, and LeBron that night. So it's kind of advantageous to do a 4-person game stack if there's a few multipliers that are off. Like today, the best 4-person game stack is going to be probably from OKC in San Antonio, and use 3 to 5 different players from that game. You can go with Theo Maldon. You can go with SGA. You can go with Patty Mills, Lonnie Walker, DeJounte Murray, LMA, Podol. Like anyone is over in play over on San Antonio, because the high multipliers, like the variance is significantly more. One stat correction can cost you 6 points, like potentially be an 8-point swing. If a steal gets attributed to from Lonnie Walker from LMA, like based on their multipliers, that can be in 12-point or not 12-point, 10-point swing for you. So that's kind of how things work over on Superdraft because of multipliers. Like the guys with higher multipliers have way more volatility. Saddiq Bey, he makes a 3-pointer, boom, that's 6 points for you right there. If he misses it, that's not 6 points for you. It's that simple. So guys at higher multipliers can be a little bit more advantageous in tournaments, especially if you're getting them at low ownership. Because Saddiq Bey, I think last night or maybe 2 nights ago, he went for 36 points, 35 points over on Superdraft at 1.8x multiplier. That's close to 60, which on a normal night might not get you there. On a night like tonight, it can absolutely get you there. And we know that he's a guy that had that nice little run. I think he had a 50-point game. He shot off like 11 3-pointers and made 9 of them. Just ridiculous. Now, you don't expect that, but he is a guy that can get hot and he can get boards. With him in the starting lineup, he's getting a lot more run. He can get a double-double there fairly easily. So looking at forward, like your cash game core is probably LeBron, Jimmy Butler, who's been putting up triple doubles. LeBron's obviously without Schroeder or without Davis. So those 2 guys, probably the guys you're using at forward position. Plumlee and Bam, like probably your third guy, and throw the other guy in at the center. Like these 4 guys are most likely, based on what I know right now, things can change. Obviously, it's the NBA. They like to hate us and just throw in all sorts of guys that are just, they're playing now. No, they're not. So nice part about this too, a player gets ruled out, they have global player swap. So let's say that Zion gets ruled out. You can mass swap from Zion over to Ingram immediately. Boom, takes 3 to 4 seconds. Not a big deal. Turn on RG alerts. Download the RG alert app. That's what I use. But as soon as you know, easy swap out. You don't have to worry about 2v2 swaps or finding a direct pivot or anything like that, or just putting guys into the later game and figuring it out after that. It's literally just boom, swap to swap. It's that simple. So after these guys in your cash games, tournaments are a little bit more interesting. Again, the median outcome for LeBron, 58. Next closest is 53. And we see we have 10 different guys within 6 points in terms of median outcomes. And we have 20 different guys with higher ceilings, 30 different guys with higher ceilings than LeBron's median outcome. So there is a chance that any one of these guys is in the winning lineup. Like it's that simple. Median outcome, if you don't know, that's what he's going to hit 50% of the time. Like that's not mean. That's not the average. That's the median. Like 50% of the time, he's going to hit that or more. We run, I don't even know how many simulations, but 100 simulations of the game, let's say, and 50% of the time he ends up at this mark. 20% of the time he ends up at this mark or higher. Or 80% of the time he ends up at this floor, 45, 40, 80% of the time. Ceiling, 20% of the time. I believe those are the ones. So, like, DFS is not about, like, all right, you know exactly what's going to happen. No, you know there's a range of probable outcomes. Knowing the more likely outcomes or the possible outcomes based on ownership is kind of where you get an edge. So LeBron's going to be super high on, Butler's going to be super high on, Bam's going to be super high on. Not sure about Plumlee, but I assume that multiplier he's going to be super high on. So pivoting off of one of these guys, Jeremy Grant, we know he's going to shoot. Like if he picks up a few stocks going up against New Orleans, he's in potential for a big game. Like I'm guessing he'll probably be on Ingram, so he can end up playing or being around the ball a decent amount because Ingram's going to have the ball a lot. Zion, we know that he can shoot 80% from the field, get a bunch of dunks, get a double-double bonus. That right there is a big boost. Brandon Ingram, we know that he can get lights out shooting, just hog the ball the entire game, put up a big game versus bad Detroit defense. Siakam, it looks like Lowry's going to play. He's currently probable, but they've had multiple same-day upgrades and downgrades, so I don't know if I'd fully trust that. But Siakam had 1.2x multiplier, a little bit low, but always a guy that has 50-point upside. SGA, low multiplier, but he's getting all the usage. Levine is a little tough to play at 1x multiplier, but he does have 60-some-odd point upside. He can get hot. He can just absolutely destroy anything, especially against the bad Minnesota defense. Saddiq Bey kind of went through him already. Guy likes Chuck. New Orleans been paying at a faster pace. Been a little bit better defensively, but still not a great defensive team. Saddiq Bey can put up a big outing. LMA, if he gets 30 minutes, which I don't know if he will, it's horribly confusing. Sacramento or the San Antonio situations, always tough to figure out. But at 1.65x multiplier, even if he plays 25 minutes, he can put up 35 points. Like, he's going to eat up so much usage in that offense because DeRozan's out and Keldon Johnson's out that I think that he has still a decent floor or decent ceiling regardless. Kuzma, without Anthony Davis in there, I'm a little bit less apt to use him because Utah's been so great defensively and so good defensively. Both of these teams are great defensive teams. I'm not going to be surprised if this is a 95-97 game. Like, just how it kind of works. I wouldn't be surprised if Utah blew him out because if LeBron has a tough outing, he can get crushed. Like, so LeBron's a decent fade in tournaments. I'll probably be right with Fieldham, probably right around 55 to 60% ownership, but all depends on what news comes out later. Cat, I don't have him highlighted, but 1x multiplier, he can always go for a 60 burger, but I'd rather go with some of these other guys here. Lonnie Walker, as I said, like all the San Antonio guys are out, 1.85x multiplier. We've seen him put up a 40-point matchup. He's going to be one of my favorite plays in tournaments if he ends up getting the start here. Wendell Carter, already talked about. Basley, decent multiplier, not a horrible play. We see his ceiling is 63. That's not bad. Garrett Temple with the minutes, if he gets hot shooting, 1.85x multiplier, a few extra threes, and boom, he's got a massive outing. Outside of that, a little bit tough to go with any of these guys. I'm not going to argue with them, like Jay Crowder, OG, Bridges, Bojan. Like, they can all put up 35, 40-point outings. Like, it's within the realm of possibility, but it's not the most likely outcome. Ingles, with everyone back in there, he's not run too much point. He's not shooting as much. So at the forward position, this is a little bit tough to figure out who to go with once you get past like Lonnie Walker here. Not really a ton you want to go with. So let me check, see any other questions in chat before I get over to guard. Saban Lee in play at 2x. Will he be chalk? I doubt he'll be chalk. Like, you can kind of figure out who the chalk's going to be based on RG median projection. So if we go over to guard, we look at it, these guys are going to be the chalky guys. DeJounte Murray, LeBron, Booker, Donovan Mitchell. Like, then slightly less chalky guys, Van Vliet, Rozier, Mills will probably be chalky. Saban Lee's all the way down here. He will garner some ownership. Chalk on Superdraft is different than chalk on DraftKings. Chalk on Superdraft is like 60% owned. 10% owned, 15% owned, because of the multiplier system, makes it, that's not really that chalky. Like, that is just a normal ownership. If you can always find guys at 0.2, 0.3% ownership, like going down here. Kendrick Nunn, actually, he might be in play for tournaments if Hero was ruled out, and Dragic is ruled out. He's a guy that I think his median projection might be a little low. Like, he can get 50 points. I had him the other night where he did crush. So he's a guy that I think is in play for tournaments. If Hero is out, if Hero's in, I think Hero's in play for tournaments. But mostly it's these guys up here, like Van Vliet. We've seen him put up a 60-point game. Granted, he shot out of his mind. But he's always a guy with 50, 60-point upside at 1.25x multiplier. He's very much in play. Rozier has been shooting lights out, had a rough game in the last game. But prior to that, he was shooting 20, 25, 30 shots a game. He's been hot from beyond the arc. He went on a spree over 4 games where he shot 60%, I believe. Still shooting 42% on the season, if I remember correctly. So he's a guy that I think is in play for tournaments. Matchup versus Phoenix isn't great, but he can crush on any given night. Already gone over Patty Mills. Already gone over Levine, SGA. Saban Lee, like him or DSJ will end up getting a decent amount of run. I know that DSJ hasn't been getting a ton of run starting and then moving to the bench, and Saban Lee kind of gets a prolonged rotation. with the second unit and eats up a lot of that usage. So it's actually better him coming off the bench. He has one of the highest ceilings on the slate. See right here, 70. There's only a guard position, DeJounte Murray and LeBron, that are over that. So he's a guy that's definitely in play for tournaments. Chris Paul can always put up 50. He's fine. Malik Beasley, kind of off and on. Not a guy I'll use in tournaments in all likelihood unless I'm stacking up the Chicago game, bring it back with playing Towns, bring it back with Carter Jr. and Levine. But otherwise, going to stay away from LaMelo. His multiplier is real low, but he can still put up 60 points. He can still put up a triple-double. We've seen him do it before. So he's in play for tournaments. Conley, always worried about his minutes, but he can put up a big outing. Lonzo Ball, Norman Powell, Lowry, are all fine, but not great plays. Anthony Edwards is a guy that I will look at in tournaments. I know he hasn't done great recently. He's been a little bit up and down, but he's had rough shooting nights, had a few 3 for 15 nights, 3 for 11. So the volume has been there enough at a 1.65x multiplier where he can still end up hitting, especially against a bad defensive team in Chicago and a fast-paced defensive team in Chicago. We could see him put up 18 shot attempts, 20 shot attempts in this one. So if he does that and he has a decent shooting night, he has a chance of putting up 70 super draft points after the multiplier, which is enough to bring down tournament. Lonnie Walker, I already talked about it. Maldon, already a guy that has a super high multiplier. A lot of nights he'll end up crushing you, but I think he's worth a shot in tournaments. Rubio, Josh Jackson are fine, but not guys I'll go with. Temple, we see his ceiling 68. He's one of the more volatile guys. So in the bigger field tournaments with top heavy payout, it's not a horrible idea. If you're entering the 100-man, $100 tournament, I'd probably stay away from a few of these guys outside of Lonnie Walker, just because you want that floor ceiling combo because it is only a 100-man tournament. So all you need to do is get 13th place. So Kendrick Nunn, already talked about a little bit, kind of based on Hero. We already talked about Hero a little bit. That's it, guys. Any questions you got, go ahead and drop them in cash or into chat, and I'll try and answer them. We're going to get out of here in a few minutes. But guys like Diallo, multiplier is probably too low now because of what happened when SGA was in there and Diallo was crushing on it. Any given night, Denzel Washington, obviously don't know what his minutes are going to be like in any given matchup. Ingles with Mitchell back and with Conley back, Ingles is kind of doing a whole lot less. Doesn't run the point as much because they have Clarkson, they have Mitchell, they have Conley. So not a guy that I'll use a ton in tournaments. Like just DSJ 1.9x multiplier. Yeah, if you want to use him, it's pretty high. He can always eat up a whole bunch of usage, but those times where he doesn't end up doing a ton, he's just going to kill you. I mean, look at what he's done. If he does get extended run here, because I know he was a lottery pick, put 25 points in the last game, started, only got 18 minutes though. If they decide hey, we're not going to use Lee as much, we don't want to, and they decide to pull DSJ out there for 25, even 30 minutes, he can crush. He can absolutely destroy, but we have his median outcome around 16, 17, I want to say. So most likely he's going to put up a score that will just kill your lineup immediately. Granted, tonight we don't have as many lock and lows. We don't have as many 60-point median outcome guys. So just not probably worth your play, worth your time. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Super Draft slate. It doesn't look like we have a whole lot of questions in chat, guys. Anything you want to see on this, go ahead and drop in the comment sections. Go ahead and DM me. Go ahead and at me over on Twitter. Anything that we need to do on this show that you'd like to see. We're still working out exactly what you guys want, trying to give you as much information as possible. But right now, what exactly are your favorite GPP plays? What exactly is Super Cash on the site? Super Cash on the site is simply cash. You have to play through it once. So we deposit 150 using the promo code Grinders. You get 150 in Super Cash. So you essentially have $300 to play with. You can throw that $300 in on one day, and that's pretty much it. Or you could play $10 a day for 30 days. All you have to do is play through it once, and it's yours. So yeah, play $300 and you're good to go. You can keep playing. Like I said, there's more overlay over on Superdraft than any other place in the industry. The odds are better. A lot of the competition is a little bit softer. So it's my main money maker is Superdraft right now, just because the overlays there. I can get several grand in play any given night. Whatever your price point is, $1, $4, $15. They have tournaments for each $100 tournaments. They have cash ranging from $1 to $200, 50-50s. They got triple ups. They got single entry tournaments. They've got everything over there. So get on in over there, get playing, sign up using the promo code Grinders, and yeah, let me know what you want to see on this in the future, guys. But favorite GPP plays. So a guard, it's these guys in green are kind of my favorite GPP plays. Like if we're looking at all positions, then these are your kind of the cash game core. These guys right here are all the GPP plays. Podol, any one of the starting Spurs are very much play with GPPs. LaMelo, Sadiq Bey, Horford, I think he's in play for tournaments. More of a game stack situation because of his multiplier. Wendell Carter Jr., just because he could get an extra run with Cat. Edwards, if he gets a hot night shooting. Same thing with Lonnie Walker. Basley, because of his multiplier. And Maldon, because of his multiplier. Magic versus the Spurs, who are down a few guys and are either going to run a tight rotation or be sending out guys that are not great. Garrett Temple, high ceiling, according to RG projections. Definitely a guy you can consider in bigger field tournaments. But those are kind of the GPP plays. Like, gone through it all. Hopefully that was helpful, guys, but it's about time to get out of here. It's been fun. Sign up using promo code Grinders. Let me know anything you want to see here. I'm out of here, guys. See you, kids.